Okay, my timer has went off. It's been about 15 minutes. I'm supposed to take the internal temperature to make sure that it's 190. However, I don't have a thermometer yet. I'm going to get one. So I'm just going to be guessing. So looking at that, it's really pretty. We're going to take it out. Here's a starter I was given in my workshop, and I added some flour and some water to it. And then we got to practice scoring using a piece of Play-Doh and a razor blade. This helped us to get practice with how we were going to make the designs in our bread, which was really fun to learn to do. And we learned one important reason in scoring is to make a deep cut along the side. This is called the ear. This actually tells your bread where to pop. And once you work your dough, you have to let it sit for 30 minutes, at least 3 different times in between each working. We were given a starter to take home with instructions on how to feed it. We practiced feeding it in our class, so we added some unbleached flour to it, and here I will be showing you in slow motion how to feed the starter, and I am stirring it. Okay, this was the bread we were able to bake in our class. The 2 loaves came out. They were so very pretty. I just love how they look, and that ear, where it popped, was just beautiful. And then next up, I'm going to practice baking my own at home, but this was the loaves that we baked in our class. We were able to practice cutting the bread. However, our instructor forgot to bring her bread knife, so we had to use just a regular knife here. So much easier if you have a bread knife to cut your bread with. And then everybody got to get a sample of the bread with some Irish butter. And let me tell you, this bread is delicious. The actual starter that I was given is actually has a 30-year or more Alaskan lineage. Look how beautiful this bread is. It was so good. This is the bread that I made from my starter I was given in the class, and it's resting in a Banneton, I don't know how you say that, bowl, and it has doubled in size. It's pretty firm on the top. I can bake it today or I can bake it tomorrow, so we have to keep it in the refrigerator until we get ready to bake it. So whenever I get ready to bake it, I'm going to show y'all how the final product looks. You're going to heat your oven to 475 degrees. You're going to put your Dutch oven in there and let it preheat as well. Once it has preheated, you will take it out. You will take a piece of parchment paper, and I had to end up putting my piece of parchment paper on a baking sheet because you have to flip your dough out of your Banneton Bowl onto the parchment paper. And then we're going to practice scoring it. There's different designs that bread bakers can put into their bread. It's just a personal preference, but we were taught to use these little lines and use the same number on each side. So I'm just using 8. So I scored or made 8 little cuts on each side of my bread. Here, I'm showing you how I did that. And then I decided I wanted a letter K. That's the first letter of our last name to represent our last name into the bread. But on the side here, I had to do a deeper score, and this is called the ear. This actually tells your bread where to explode, and you'll see when it comes out of the oven, if in fact it doesn't explode where I'm putting this K, because that was kind of a deep cut. This is my first time. I'm just practicing. It may or may not look like a K. We'll see when it comes out. Okay, there's my bread. It's ready to go into the oven. So I dumped it in there inside the parchment paper after I finished scoring it. Put it into my oven, and I'm going to close my oven door. And we're going to let this bake for 25 minutes. I actually forgot to put my lid on here, so I immediately opened my oven door back up, put my lid on there, then closed my door. So we'll bake it for 25 minutes. Okay, my timer has just went off. I baked it for 25 minutes, and we were told to take it out, take the lid off, and then bake it an additional 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm gonna get the lid off. Hang on 1 second. Trying to be careful. Oh, how pretty. Oh, that K doesn't look so much like a K, but it's okay. I'm just practicing, so I am learning. Right. So we're gonna put it back in there, bake it an additional, let's see, it said 15 to 20 minutes. I'm gonna try 15 and go from there. Oh, and I was supposed to turn down my oven to 450. I forgot to do that step. Since I don't have a temperature checker, I don't know if my bread is done. I'm just gonna insert my knife in there. It did come out clean. That was something I learned to do when I was younger. It seems to be done, so I'm gonna let it rest like this for a bit. I have removed my bread from the Dutch oven, and it says to let it rest for 1 to 2 hours before cutting into it. We didn't do that in our class. It's just a good idea. And see where was my ear? I think I cut my ear over here. It didn't work out so well because the bread ingredients told it to pop at my K. So that's actually where it popped. But see those little beautiful little designs? That was all from just a little slit that I put in there. You can see it on both. I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm gonna get ready to try it here in a little bit. I'll let it cool down first. But look at that. Just gonna pull that piece off. That looks really yummy, y'all. Can't wait to try it. Okay, it's a little hard for me to cut my bread and video as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my bread in the middle, and then I'll show you what it looks like. There is the middle of my bread. I'm hoping that it's done. I don't think it is. I didn't leave it in there as long as the instructions said because I was afraid it would burn. You see how the bottom is a little brown? But that's okay. This is how my finished product looks. I'm really pleased with it. Now we're going to try a slice. I have a slice of bread ready. And I got some of this good butter. This is the Kerrygold Pure Irish Butter. It's naturally softer, and you'll see when I open it better. Make sure you get a thermometer. See those wet spots in the middle? That is a sign that it's a little undercooked, but it's still very good. Okay, there's my bread, my butter. So good, y'all. So good. Very proud of my bread.